Hey everyone, and welcome back to the show. Today, we're diving headfirst into a topic that's generating a lot of buzz: polyamory. We're all about exploring different facets of relationships, and polyamory definitely falls under that umbrella. Let's be real, relationships in general can be complex, right? Add in the element of multiple partners, and things can get even more intricate. That's where Polysecure by Jessica Fern comes in. It's become a bit of a Bible for those navigating the world of ethical non-monogamy. It's not just about having multiple partners, it's about doing so in a way that fosters security, communication, and emotional well-being for everyone involved. We're all about that open and honest dialogue here, so whether you're completely new to polyamory or have some experience under your belt, we're here to break down the stigma and explore the possibilities. So grab your favorite drink, get comfy, and let's unravel the world of polyamory together. Polysecure isn't just another self-help book. It delves into the psychological underpinnings of relationships, particularly through the lens of attachment theory. Imagine this: our early childhood experiences, especially with our caregivers, shape how we approach relationships later in life. These early bonds influence our attachment styles, which essentially dictate how we give and receive love, handle conflict, and navigate emotional intimacy. Polysecure takes those attachment styles and applies them to the context of polyamorous relationships. This book encourages us to approach polyamory not just as a relationship style, but as a journey of self-discovery and emotional growth. It's about understanding our own triggers, insecurities, and communication patterns so we can build stronger, more fulfilling connections, regardless of the relationship structure. Now let's break down attachment theory a bit further, because it's seriously the key to unlocking healthier, happier relationships, polyamorous or otherwise. Essentially, there are 4 main attachment styles: secure, anxious, avoidant, and fearful avoidant. For example, someone with a secure attachment style generally feels comfortable with intimacy and independence. They can communicate their needs effectively and offer support to their partners. On the other hand, someone with an anxious attachment style might crave constant reassurance and worry about their place in the relationship. Avoidant types tend to prioritize independence and might struggle with emotional vulnerability. And finally, those with a fearful avoidant style experience a mix of both. They desire closeness, but fear intimacy and rejection. Polysecure helps us decode those dance moves, providing insights into how different attachment styles can either clash or complement each other in a polyamorous dynamic. One of the core ideas in Polysecure is the concept of moving beyond mononormativity. We're basically hardwired by society to believe that love is a finite resource, right? Like there's only one soulmate out there, and our hearts are these tiny teacups that can only hold so much love. Polyamory challenges this whole notion. Polysecure encourages us to question those ingrained societal scripts and explore alternative relationship models that might feel more aligned with our values and desires. It's about acknowledging that the traditional one-size-fits-all approach to relationships doesn't work for everyone. Polysecure empowers us to define what a fulfilling relationship looks like on our own terms, whether it involves one partner, multiple partners, or something in between. Polyamory isn't just about free love and endless date nights. It requires a whole lot of emotional heavy lifting. Polysecure emphasizes the importance of emotional responsibility, both to ourselves and to our partners. It's about recognizing that entering into a polyamorous relationship doesn't magically erase our own baggage or insecurities. It's about having those sometimes uncomfortable conversations about needs, boundaries, and expectations, not just with one partner, but with all of them. Polysecure reminds us that polyamory is a continuous journey of self-discovery and growth. It's about learning to communicate our needs effectively, navigate conflict constructively, and hold space for both our own emotions and those of our partners. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, or should we say the green-eyed monster under the bed. Jealousy is often seen as the ultimate relationship deal-breaker, but Polysecure encourages us to reframe our relationship with this often misunderstood emotion. It's about acknowledging that jealousy is a natural human emotion, like sadness or anger. Instead of viewing jealousy as a sign that polyamory is not for us, Polysecure suggests using it as an opportunity for self-reflection and growth. It's about asking ourselves, what is this jealousy telling me about my own needs, insecurities, or fears? Is it stemming from a lack of communication, a breach of trust, or perhaps even societal conditioning? Polysecure provides practical tools and strategies for communicating our feelings of jealousy effectively, setting healthy boundaries, and ultimately, strengthening our relationships rather than letting jealousy erode them. All right, let's dive into the fascinating world of attachment theory and how it plays out in polyamorous relationships. Remember those attachment styles we talked about earlier? Secure, anxious, avoidant, and fearful avoidant? Well, they don't take a vacation just because you're dating multiple people. In fact, they might even show up with a little extra flair. Think of it like this. Each person enters the polyamorous playground with their own attachment style, their own set of strengths and vulnerabilities. And just like in any relationship, those styles interact, sometimes harmoniously, sometimes with a bit more friction. Polysecure encourages us to view these interactions not as deal breakers, but as opportunities for growth and deeper understanding. It's about recognizing that someone's attachment style isn't a character flaw, but a reflection of their past experiences and how they've learned to navigate relationships. Now let's talk about everyone's favorite attachment style, secure attachment. Imagine feeling confident in your relationships, comfortable with both intimacy and independence. You communicate your needs effectively, offer support to your partners, and handle conflict like a pro. And while it's not a guarantee for a problem-free polyamorous experience, because let's face it, life happens, it definitely lays a solid foundation for healthy communication, emotional resilience, and navigating the complexities of multiple relationships with more grace and ease. Now, before you start thinking that secure attachment is some unattainable superpower, here's the good news. It's a skill that can be learned and cultivated over time. Polysecure provides practical tips and exercises for strengthening our own sense of security, both within ourselves and in our relationships. Not everyone waltzes into polyamory with a secure attachment-style trophy in hand. In fact, many of us are working through our own attachment wounds and insecurities, and that's perfectly okay. Polysecure doesn't shy away from these complexities. It embraces them as opportunities for growth and healing. Imagine, for instance, an anxious attachment style navigating the polyamorous landscape. Those fears of abandonment and need for constant reassurance, they might get amplified when there are multiple partners involved. Or picture an avoidant attachment style trying to navigate the emotional intimacy and communication demands of polyamory. Polysecure reminds us that these challenges aren't insurmountable. It's about recognizing that polyamory can be a catalyst for healing old wounds and developing more secure attachment patterns, leading to stronger, more fulfilling relationships in all areas of our lives. All right, folks, let's talk about the secret sauce of successful polyamorous relationships. And no, it's not some fancy potion you can find at a New Age apothecary. It's communication, baby. But we're not just talking about exchanging pleasantries about your day or arguing over who left the dishes in the sink. We're talking about next-level communication, the kind that builds trust, fosters intimacy, and helps everyone feel seen, heard, and respected. Think of communication as the oxygen that keeps those polyamorous flames burning bright. Without it, things can get real messy, real fast. Jealousy festers, misunderstandings multiply, and resentment builds up like a pressure cooker ready to explode. But when you prioritize open, honest, and compassionate communication, it's like pouring water on those potential fires before they even have a chance to ignite. They're the building blocks of a strong, ethical, and ultimately more fulfilling polyamorous experience. Here's the thing about polyamory. It's not just about throwing out the rulebook and embracing a free-for-all love fest. In fact, healthy polyamory often involves more rules and boundaries than traditional monogamous relationships. Why? Because when you're juggling multiple relationships, it's crucial to have clear agreements in place to ensure everyone feels safe, respected, and prioritized. We're talking about open, honest conversations about what works for everyone involved. What are your deal breakers? What are your needs when it comes to time, communication, and intimacy? What are your expectations around transparency and disclosure? By being upfront about your needs and boundaries, you're creating a space where everyone can feel secure and empowered to show up authentically in their relationships. So you've had the big conversations about boundaries and expectations, but here's the thing about relationships. They're not a set it and forget it kind of deal. Just like that houseplant you keep forgetting to water, polyamorous relationships require regular nurturing and attention to thrive. And that's where the art of the check-in comes in. We're talking about creating a space for open, honest, and compassionate dialogue about how everyone is feeling, what's working, and what might need some adjusting. Think of it like taking the temperature of your relationships. Regular check-ins provide a safe and structured space to address these issues before they escalate into major conflicts. All right, folks, let's get real for a minute. Polyamory isn't some magical relationship upgrade that instantly transforms you into a Zen master of love and understanding. In fact, it can often shine a giant spotlight on all those messy, complicated parts of ourselves we'd rather keep hidden. Think of it like this. Polyamory is like holding up a mirror to your own emotional landscape. Those insecurities, triggers, and communication patterns you've been carrying around? Yeah, they're going to show up to the party, especially when there are multiple partners involved. By embracing self-awareness, you can transform those potential landmines into opportunities for growth and healing. Here's a radical concept. You are responsible for your own happiness. Shocking, right? But in all seriousness, this is especially crucial in the world of polyamory. It's tempting to seek validation and fulfillment from multiple partners, but relying on others to complete you is a recipe for disaster. Think of it like this. Each individual is like a beautiful, intricate mosaic. Our partners are like those colorful tiles that add depth and vibrancy to our lives, but they shouldn't be the only source of color. Polysecure emphasizes the importance of cultivating a strong sense of self-love and independence, regardless of your relationship status. Remember, a happy and fulfilled you is the best version you can bring to any relationship, polyamorous or otherwise. Let's talk about compersion, that feeling of joy when you see your partner happy in their other relationships. It sounds as real as a unicorn riding a roller coaster, right? But trust us, compersion is real and rewarding in polyamory. It's not about erasing jealousy. It's about shifting from scarcity to abundance, seeing your partner's other relationships as opportunities for growth, finding joy in their love and connection from multiple sources. Compersion can transform jealousy into shared happiness. Okay, let's be real. One of the more entertaining aspects of polyamory is the scheduling. We're talking next-level calendar Tetris, folks. Date nights, partner hangouts, solo self-care time, it's enough to make your head spin. We've all heard those stories, right? The accidental double-booked date night, the overlapping family commitments, the sheer panic of trying to remember which partner is allergic to shellfish. One of our friends, we'll call her Sarah, swears by her poly planner. She's got dedicated tabs for each partner, shared events, solo time, the whole shebang. She even has a system of sticky notes with cryptic abbreviations that only she understands. But hey, even with the best laid plans, things can get a little chaotic. The inevitable question from well-meaning or perhaps slightly nosy friends and family. So how does this whole polyamory thing work anyway? It's a question that can elicit a range of emotions, from amusement to exasperation to downright dread. Do you launch into a detailed explanation of ethical non-monogamy, complete with diagrams and footnotes? Or do you just shrug and say, it's complicated? One of our listeners, we'll call him Mark, told us about the time his grandmother asked him, with a twinkle in her eye, "So, does this mean you have 2 girlfriends now?" Mark, being a good sport, decided to have a little fun with it. "Well, Grandma," he replied, "it's more like a timeshare arrangement." Her bewildered expression was priceless. Then there's the classic assumption that polyamory is just a free pass for endless hookups. We hate to break it to you folks, but managing multiple relationships takes effort, communication, and a whole lot of emotional intelligence. It's definitely not for the faint of heart, or those who prefer their love lives served with a side of simplicity. As we wrap up our deep dive into polyamory through Polysecure, remember, polyamory isn't a utopia. It's about challenging societal norms and embracing the messiness of human connection. Love isn't finite. Our hearts can grow and expand. Polysecure reminds us that polyamory is a journey, not a destination. It's about authentic communication and inner healing. Embrace self-awareness and personal growth. Question limiting beliefs and embrace human complexity. Life's too short for boring relationships, right?